President Biden abused his power to sell our oil, reduce gas prices so that the midterm elections would swing Democrats' way. It's a shame to trick the American people just to win an election. No president should be able to use their emergency powers for politics.
So let me tell you what this is all about. I can summarize this debate of the last 2 days into one sentence. Joe Biden lowered your gas prices, and Republicans are upset about it. That's what this is about. Joe Biden lowered your gas prices last year, and that makes Republicans mad. And how do we know? They said it out loud. The gentlewoman from Georgia earlier this morning just said that Joe Biden lowered your gas prices for political reasons. You know, I don't care why a president lowers your gas prices. If any president can lower your gas prices, we should support that president's action. And if prices surge later this year, if gas prices surge again, Joe Biden should be able to use the tools at his disposal and lower your gas prices again. We should be giving the president even more flexibility to use the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to lower your gas prices. Joe Biden lowered your gas prices, and Republicans want to keep him from doing that again. We don't want to stop the president from lowering your gas prices. We want Joe Biden to lower your gas prices again if he could do that. But there's another reason this Republican bill is so stupid. Because not only did Joe Biden lower your gas prices, the United States of America made a profit on it. Buy low, sell high. It was brilliant what Joe Biden did. He released the Strategic Petroleum Reserve at prices when gases were high, and that's helped lower the gas prices, and then he refilled it at the lower amount. The U.S. made $4 billion on Joe Biden's action. Republicans always want to say, well, let's run government like a business. Joe Biden did exactly that when he lowered your gas prices and then made a $4 billion profit for the United States of America. Adopt my amendment, which would make this stupid bill better, and then vote against this bill.
Just want to make sure that I'm understanding this all. So Marjorie Taylor Greene is mad that Joe Biden used the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to lower gas prices after an entire midterm cycle where Republicans were demanding that Joe Biden lower gas prices. That all sound correct? Yeah? Just making sure. This speech from Greene comes as House Republicans have passed a bill that would limit Biden's ability to use the Strategic Petroleum Reserve after the president used releases from the SPR to get the prices of gas down last year, which you would think Republicans would appreciate, considering they spent the entire midterm cycle criticizing the high price of gas. Like, am I living on a different planet or what? I mean, I almost don't know what to say about this speech. Greene whines that Joe Biden was able to lower the price of oil for political reasons. First of all, who cares why he did it? Do lower gas prices not hit the same if the intentions that led to them weren't pure enough for Republicans? I don't know about you, but the part I care about is that gas prices went down. And I'd venture to guess that just about every single other American would agree. Second, isn't everything that happens in politics political? When Democrats move to protect Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, that's political. It's the right thing to do, but it's also popular politically. Those things aren't in contrast with each other, nor are they mutually exclusive. When Democrats passed the CHIPS Act, it was the right thing to do, but it was also smart politically. When Democrats passed the PACT Act, again, the right thing to do and smart politics. The Inflation Reduction Act, the American Rescue Plan, the gun safety bill, all smart and all political. So I'm not sure what kind of a gotcha Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks she's delivering here, but politicians do things aligned with their agenda, and they hope that those decisions will have a political benefit for them. That's what politics is. And her argument will be like, yeah, well, he only did it because midterms were coming up. But there's always an election coming up. If Biden did something today, Republicans would say that he's only doing it because he's up for re-election in November of 2024. We have elections all the time. That's the point, to ensure that politicians are accountable to us. When exactly would Marjorie Taylor Greene like Joe Biden to do something where it doesn't feel too political for her? Again, if this argument was anything more of a stretch, I'd be worried that she'd pull a muscle. And finally, the kicker, Republicans spent the entirety of the midterm cycle wailing about gas prices. So if I'm understanding correctly, It's A-okay for Republicans to use the issue of gas prices to launch a political attack against Democrats before midterms, but it's not okay for the Democrats to actually work to solve that issue before midterms, because that would be some type of an abuse. Am I getting that right? But in a way, this whole argument really is the perfect microcosm of the two parties. Republicans don't want anything to get fixed because their political identity stems from being able to complain about the government. And so of course they're going to take issue with the government actually seeking to solve a problem, because that runs counter to their entire philosophy. Meanwhile, Democrats know that the government can be used to solve problems. In this case, Joe Biden was able to release 1 million barrels of oil per day from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to bring down the price of gas. That is one of the few tools available to a president to actually influence the price of gas, and it worked exactly as intended. Republicans hate that because it is a living, breathing monument to the fact that their philosophy, that government is eternally broken, is actually wrong. And the more people who can see that, the more trouble Republicans will have of convincing them that the only solution to everything is privatization. Democrats know that the government can help the people of this country, but Republicans want you to believe that unless a rich CEO is in charge, charging you the maximum while delivering the bare minimum, then an enterprise is somehow not valid. Let me know if you buy into that argument. Take all the time you need with that one. So look, as far as this bill goes, limiting Biden's ability to tap into the country's petroleum reserves, while it did pass the House 221 to 205, there's no way it'll be taken up by the Democratic Senate, so it's as good as dead. But it does serve as a messaging bill, and that message, apparently, is that Republicans want to be able to complain about gas prices, but they don't want anyone to actually do anything about those gas prices. Got it? No? Me neither. But in fairness, I should note the reason that Republicans gave for opposing Biden's ability to be able to tap into the SPR. Republican Steve Scalise said, quote, "If there's a hurricane that hits the Gulf and disrupts the oil markets, you've got oil there to make sure you can continue to flow oil to your refineries to keep the supply going. It's not there to mask bad policies." Basically saying that Biden tapping into the SPR now takes away all that oil at moments when we really need it. But first of all, gas hit its highest point ever after Russia invaded Ukraine. Is that not a moment where we really needed it? Republicans made it abundantly clear on a daily basis that high gas prices were the worst affront to Americans since 9/11, but somehow now it's no big deal and Biden should have just let those high prices ride? Anyone able to square those two things for me? Because I don't think I can. And second of all, it is rich hearing Republicans pretend to care about setting us up for rainy days. Republicans passed the 2017 tax cut that completely decimated our tax revenues in favor of a tax cut for millionaires and billionaires. Then when COVID hit a couple years later and we didn't have enough federal revenues to keep us afloat because it was all squandered on that tax cut, did one single Republican lament their decision? I'll save you some time here. The answer is no. So when Republicans stand up and pretend that they're worried about what the SPR being depleted may mean in the case of an emergency, they don't actually care. They're just being partisan hacks. In reality, Biden already has proposed a plan for replenishing the stockpile and is beginning immediately, with 3 million barrels getting delivered in February. And we still have 372 million barrels within the stockpile, so let's not pretend that we're down to zero. The fact is that Republicans want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be able to whine that gas prices are high and then also whine that steps were taken to successfully lower those gas prices. They will never be satisfied because the point isn't finding solutions to their problems. The point is simply highlighting the problems. They're not in the business of governing, they're in the business of aggrievement. That's all they sell. The question is whether you're looking for a party focused on fixing things or breaking them. Before you go, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. You can click the thumbnail right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work even further, the best way is to subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. There you can check out my interviews with major players in the world of politics, including President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Katie Porter, Jamie Raskin, and so many more. Plus other interviews that live exclusively on the podcast. That link is also right here on this screen, or just search No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen wherever you listen to podcasts.